Everybody loves classic cars, but the sad reality is these cars are extremely expensive to restore, to maintain, or even to buy a finished one. Unfortunately, that puts classic cars out of reach for most normal people like us. So that only leaves us with a couple different options. You can save up a ton of money, buy one that's already done, or you can build one, which costs a ton of money still, but at least you're gonna have all the tools that you need to do it, and you're gonna take pride in knowing that you did it yourself. Hi, I'm Josh.
Hello. Hola, señor.
Hi, my name's Josh, and I've been restoring classic cars for about 2-3 years now out of my parents' garage, and I finally got my own place. But we have one major issue with the shop right now. First of all, it is full of all of our equipment and materials. We can't even get the cars inside. And second of all, it might be a little too small. Alrighty, so we have to get all of the equipment and everything moved. You little All right, so we have to get all of the shop equipment moved and organized so that hopefully we can get these cars inside the garage. I'm gonna try and show you a couple of the main tools that you would need to do restorations out of your garage at your house. I definitely don't have all the money in the world. That's why I really try and budget, and I find the best tool for the cheapest price that I possibly can. So I'm gonna show you a couple of the tools that I have absolutely loved and a couple of tools that I would avoid. Sometimes spending a little bit more money is definitely worth it. So let's see if we can get this organized. When doing a restoration out of your garage, one of the most useful tools you can buy is ironically one of the most expensive, an air compressor. Having compressed air at your fingertips isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. But you have to be careful because there's tons of different air compressors to choose from. This is a 80-gallon, 7.5 horsepower Ingersoll Rand air compressor. Now, like I said, this is probably one of my most expensive tools, but in my opinion, it's 100% worth the money. Okay, it's a new day. The shop is still a complete mess, but today we're actually gonna start on the first major issue that we have with this shop, which is our air compressor. We have to figure out where this is going to go, which we think it's gonna go in this corner right here. And then the other problem is the plug is wrong. So it actually will not bolt up to that. So we gotta get a different plug, get that all attached, and then I have air lines that we're actually gonna have to hook up, mount on the wall, and get all of our air ready to go first. And then once the air compressor is finished, we'll be able to move to kind of getting the rest of the garage organized. But this is what we're gonna do first. So we're gonna try and get this moved, get the plug switched, and see if this thing turns on. Now we have to be extremely careful moving this air compressor. Most compressors are top heavy just because the motor sits on top of an empty tank. One wrong move could cost us thousands and thousands of dollars in repairs. So Mike and I very carefully wiggled this compressor into place against the wall. Once we had it up against the wall, we could set up our first filter to see exactly where it was gonna sit. After we knew where that filter was gonna sit, we had to pull the compressor back away from the wall so we could screw it all into place. While we had the compressor out, it was time to swap the plug. So the plug actually wouldn't plug in because two of the prongs were actually swapped. On one side it was fat, on the other side it was skinny, so I had to swap them back the other way so that we could get this plugged into the wall. Okay, new plug is on, it's wired, and compressor turns on. So all that's perfect. Now we're gonna work on getting this electronic valve attached to the bottom. That way we don't have to drain the tank. It'll just electrically open up and drain it. So we're gonna have to try and lift the tank to get that on. And then Mike got all of our pipes cut to length that are gonna go right behind the compressor that are gonna act as our drains. We still gotta go buy a couple more parts, but we're just gonna get this mocked up in place to see what we need. So one of the biggest issues with compressors is moisture. As the motor is pumping air into the tank, it creates heat, which then in turn causes moisture. The main goal is to have fresh, clean, dry air going to all of your air tools. So we're gonna build this water separator / air cooler to help keep our air dry and clean. Now, the way that this works is we just bought about 70 feet of PVC piping, and what that's gonna do is the air is gonna come out of the compressor into a filter first and then into this piping. As the air travels through the piping, all the moisture in it is going to stick to the sides of this piping. Then it's gonna drop all the way down to the bottom where we're gonna have valves that will actually catch it and we'll be able to drain it manually. Now, if you don't wanna DIY this, you can purchase something similar to this, but it's gonna be about twice as much money. Okay, so our air cooler slash water condenser piping is all mocked up. Mike did a really good job getting everything glued together. You can see, so the air is going to come up through here, come down through this, and hopefully all the moisture is going to accumulate here, run down this, and then you'll just open this up and dump all the water out. And we have each one of those. We're going to put one more on this one, but first we're going to get it hung on the wall. And then as for the compressor, we got the automatic dump valve installed and ready to go, and it works, and the compressor turns on. So we're going to push the compressor into place, figure out where we have to mount the first filter, and then once we get the filter mounted, we'll be able to get all the piping, hang it up, and screw it into place.
Now with the water separator attached to the wall, we're finally ready to pressure test this. You really don't want to have any air leaks because all that's going to do is cause your compressor to run more, which in turn is going to heat up your air more and more. So now it's time for the moment of truth.
Okay, compressor is all in place. Everything is plugged up. Everything is plumbed and hopefully finished. So the way that this compressor works is it uses an electric motor, which is plugged in right here, a 220 volt outlet. That spins this pulley with that belt right there, which is turning this motor right here. It has two pistons that go up and down, and that is sucking air in through here and then pushing the air down through this pipe into the tank. Out of the tank, it's coming right here. We've got a valve that will shut it off, and then we have an air fitting right here to hook up. It runs up through this and then into our first filtration filter, and then it will go over into the system that we just built, and it will run all the way through this, hopefully catching most of the moisture. We're going to be able to drain it right there, and then we have another filter right here that will catch the rest of the moisture and our hookups right there. If you're doing restorations or any sort of fabrication work and you need air, you need a compressor, I highly suggest you get at least an 80 gallon. That's a 7.5 horsepower motor, so this pumps out plenty of air for me and Mike to be able to work at the same time. So now the moment of truth, we gotta pressure test it and make sure it holds air. Did it crack it?
Cracked it. You went in all the way.
Kept going until it was snug. Okay, well, the pressure test failed. The fitting right here on the bottom of the compressor actually is cracked, so it's leaking out of that, so we can't really test the rest of it.
As I was installing the fitting on the bottom of the tank, I accidentally put it on too tight and cracked the fitting, causing it to leak. We have to fix this ASAP.
Hey, so compressor is all ready to go. We're hoping this doesn't leak. Okay. Sounds good. Alrighty, well, now that the compressor is kind of finished, we gotta figure out what the heck we're gonna do with all of these tools in this shop. We gotta make enough room to get both of the cars in here and hopefully give us some room to be able to work on them. So we're gonna make a ton of moves right now. We're gonna try and get the toolbox over in this corner with my paint cabinet, probably get these shelves, put them somewhere else, and then see if we can kind of get this place a little organized. Okay, well, we ran into our first major issue. I want this toolbox to sit flush against the wall, and you can see the plug is actually not allowing us to do that. Not only that, is we have to plug into this, so the toolbox would have to sit even farther out. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna unwire this plug, we're gonna cut this, raise this up, and then rewire it in. While we're doing that, the light switch for the shop is actually right there, which is weird because this is where the door's at. So we're going to take that out, unwire it, wire it back up, and put it right here. That way we can have our lights right when we open the door.
There's always little things like this that you don't plan for, and each of these things usually take the longest. Whenever you are doing anything with any electrical, make sure that the power is always off. So go turn off the breaker and then you'll be safe to do any of the work that you need to do. You definitely don't want to get shocked when messing with this kind of stuff. And you know what? If you're ever unsure about messing with electrical, just hire an electrician. It's just so much easier. So once we got the plug and the switch both shortened, we had to rewire everything back up, remount it to the wall, and then we were able to slide the toolbox up against the wall and out of the way. Now that we're done with this, we can get to the more important stuff.
Alrighty, the switch and the outlet are both relocated. So now you open the door, this turns on the lights, and we got the toolbox all the way against the wall, which is exactly how we wanted it. We got tons of space now. Got the cabinet moved over here, but it is empty. So I'm gonna grab all the stuff over there that was in it. We're gonna refill the cabinet, hopefully make a little bit of space right here. I'm super interested to see how much space we actually have once we get all of this stuff stored. I'm really hoping we have enough space for both cars, but I mean, we're just gonna have to try and clear some space and see what happens. Some sprays.
Now that the paint cabinet is all organized, it's time to move our attention to the shed. We're going to be using this shed to store all of our parts for the vehicles and all of our specialty tools. This is going to keep our shop clean and also help us stay a little bit more organized. I'm actually extremely lucky because the people that owned this house before actually installed this shed. Not only that, they left us tons of extra shelving that we're going to be able to use. So now that the shelves are in, we're going to get all of my specialty tools labeled and organized, and then all of the parts for the cars organized and stored inside this shed.
Okay, so a lot of the garage is clear now, and that is because if we go outside, of course, it's dark now. We got all of the parts put in the container. You can see this is all Cutlass, and then over here, this is Cutlass. These are just empty. This is for the next car that we're gonna do, and then all of my specialty tools are right here. You can see I went through and I labeled everything. That way it's super easy to read. I wish I would have done this a long time ago, but you can see how many specialty tools you really do need if you are gonna get into cars. And really, that's not even half of what I need. I still need to buy tons more stuff, but little by little I'm purchasing it. That's just how you have to do it. It gets really expensive, so just every month you purchase a new thing and add it to your collection. So we're gonna work on getting all of the equipment moved over to this side of the garage so that we hopefully can get one of these cars inside. And then I think we have a solution that's gonna give us a little bit more space to work in this garage. Guys, look at all the space we made. Don't look over here. None of that matters. But over here, we can finally get the car inside. So this is gonna be really interesting to see how much space we actually have. So we're gonna get the door open and get the car inside and see what we have to work with. After that, we gotta figure out what the heck we're gonna do with all the rest of this stuff. Should I do a cold start for the neighbors? Okay. Do a little burnout too. Okay, the truck is in the shop and we have a lot more space than we thought we would. You can see in the center here, we've got plenty of room. Of course, the bike's not gonna be here. Back here behind the truck, we've got about 5-6 feet. So plenty of room to be able to open the toolbox, do what we have to do, and also be able to work on the truck. And then walking around to this side, there's plenty of room to work on all of this, get the door open, do what we have to do. If we have to slide the truck back to do work on the front, we can do that. If we have to slide it this way or that way, we can also do that. So there's plenty of room and plenty of adjustability for us to do this project. It's gonna be really interesting now because we have to get the Cutlass inside and we have all of this stuff that I'm not 100% sure what we're gonna do with. But I think me and Mike came up with a solution to store all this and also extend our shop a little bit pretty cheaply. So we're gonna work on getting all this stuff moved right now over here so that we can get the Cutlass inside, and then we're gonna show you our plan how we're gonna extend the shop. Alrighty, but I'm gonna end the video right here. I'm actually gonna split this video into 2 sections. So this will be part 1, part 2 will come out next Saturday. And then in that video, we're gonna finish up the shop build, and then we got some episodes coming on these cars. So stay tuned for that. Be sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for next week when we finish the shop build. Peace out.